Well, aren't these the teeniest little microphones you ever did see?
Hey there, this episode of Some Gadget Guy is brought to you by viewers like you. All of the incredible people sharing content across social media.
And the generosity of my patrons at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. More info on those awesome nerds later in the video. The folks at Saramonic sent these my way to test drive and share some thoughts. This is the Saramonic Air. I love that this idea is getting more and more familiar. We've got two little transmitter microphones that connect to one receiver, and that receiver can plug into almost any computer, some kind of USB-C or lightning connector device. I'm recording this whole thing on a phone. I've got the receiver plugged into my Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Just like true wireless earbuds, we're making this idea easier and easier for folks to get into wireless recording. The microphones and the receiver go in this little charge case. You take this out with you when you're recording your content, you're gonna get better audio out of it. Nice breezy day in Southern California. Beautiful day today. The heat has finally broken, so I can get out of the office a little bit more. Doing the same thing here. We got like a little foam muff on the lavalier microphone. We got a full like windsock, kind of dead cat style windsock on the transmitter itself. I wish there were a few more options just for different accessories, but it's nice that this was even a consideration for Saramonic here, the Air giving us a little bit more flexibility for this. I've recently switched over to Saramonic for most of my videos. I've been using Saramonic Ultra now for a couple months. You might have noticed those Star Trek communicator badges from all of my different wireless microphones just magnetically clipped to my shirts. Those kinds of transmitters, those kinds of wireless mics, like on the Saramonic Ultra or the Rode Wireless Go series, those blocks can get pretty big. So the hook here for the Saramonic Air is trying to make a transmitter microphone a lot smaller. Less of a drag on a shirt or a blouse. A little more discreet so they don't stand out as much in your videos. Much smaller transmitter, but we're not trying to sacrifice other things like wireless range and recording quality. Even in this prosumer space, we still want a premium recording experience. We still have little wind muffs that can clip onto the microphones. We still have noise cancellation built directly into the microphones and the receiver. The ability for the receiver to plug in a pair of headphones or a line out into some other recording interface. And most critically, for the Air, we've got a tiny little transmitter that can still use a dedicated wired lav. It's teeny, but we still have a port that we can connect a cabled microphone. Another nice little point. I think Saramonic is doing something kind of clever here with this charge case. I mean, it's still a pretty big case considering how small all of the transmitters and the receiver are. But I like what Saramonic is trying to accomplish in that all of the direct attach accessories fit inside this case. So the little wind muffs for the transmitters, the extra arm and the clip for the receiver, all of that fits in here. It's a lot less that you have to kind of pack separate. It's one of those things I've been really begging for in a lot of my other microphone reviews. Like, it would be nice if I could just keep the windsocks attached to the transmitters and put those in the charge case. Here, I can't keep them directly attached, but at least there's a little space for them so I don't need to pack them separately. You're really only going to additional storage, like a little pouch or a carry bag or something like that, when you want to pack the extra gear, like the cables to attach to your camera or the lavalier microphones to attach to the transmitters. Otherwise, you could just leave the house with this and have a fully featured recording rig ready to go. All of the audio for this video is going through the Saramonic Air into my Xiaomi 15 Ultra, recorded directly. This is what's baked into that video file, but I am doing a little trick here, switching back and forth from the microphone built into one of the transmitters to switching to one of the microphones that they include in the box. I'm not gonna make this super gimmicky, like labels are gonna pop out every single time I switch audio. Just see what you can hear. I'm hoping it will be a little distracting so you can notice the differences, but we're gonna get a sense of this audio side by side. The Saramonic Air transmitters are so small, we can't use a more traditional 3.5mm jack to plug in these microphones. Instead, Saramonic is going with a proprietary connector. It's a little brass plated plug. It looks a little like a bigger MMCX kind of connector. I'm pretty sure no other audio manufacturers are using a similar connector, so this severely limits your choices in lavs to just the lavaliers that are in the box. But I really appreciate that these lavs are in the box. It's a handy solution for those situations where you don't want the little transmitter block clipped to a shirt. It gives us some additional flexibility in how we might want to set up our audio. The receiver is decently well stocked too. We've got levels for both microphones. We've got controls for what type of audio we're going to feed the recording device, if we want it to be a mono track, if we want a safety track, maybe something's getting a little loud, or what I'm doing here for this recording is split stereo. So one microphone is left channel, the other microphone is right channel. We can control levels on the receiver, and we also have a button for noise cancellation. We can turn that on in a pinch when we're controlling audio for the other people we're recording. As mentioned, we have a headphone jack and a line out, so you can have a separate monitoring feed from what you're sending to another analog source. I know that the main use of this is probably going to be digital. Like what I'm doing here, it's plugged into a phone. That audio signal is going right through the phone camera. The main arm that you're going to use is the USB-C. You can plug that into a laptop, into a tablet, into another phone. They still do include a lightning connector for those of you on older iPhones, or you can just use that block as a pure analog connector. And instead of having a digital arm, you can have like a little clip so that you can clip the receiver to either a cold shoe or some other part of your camera rig. Saramonic claims up to 300-meter range with clear air and direct line of sight. And for the recording runtime, that can be a little tricky to suss out. Now, they claim up to 10 hours of recording on a single charge. That can change up if you're using noise canceling. That's going to increase the load on these tiny little batteries. But given the small size of all of the components, we're getting extremely long recording time, and there are 2 additional full charges in this case here. So especially if you're packing up your mics and receivers in this case in between shoots, you should be topped off for a full day of recording. It's simple out of the box. You can just pull each piece and plug this into a phone and start recording, or you can get pretty deep into how you want to control all of these elements. And of course, the Saramonic app has gotten a lot better over these last couple app updates, giving us a really clear view of all the things that the receiver can handle. And also, it's just handy. We've been seeing a lot of firmware updates for Saramonic Gear, which has improved stability, recording quality. Even when we're buying something prosumer, this isn't like top of the line professional grade gear, but we still want that feeling that the manufacturer is looking out for their customers after they've taken your money, and that these products are being supported and getting better. As an old school recording nerd, I used to do field recording, I used to do location recording for movies and TV shows. It's still kind of magic to me that we're in this space now with consumer grade gear this good, and that prices continue to fall on some incredible technology options. Like, I'm not really trying to oversell this, but I do think it's a little slice of remarkable that a system this well stocked is coming in under $200. Again, that's less than the price of some higher quality true wireless earbuds, and this is something that can significantly improve the audio of whatever video project you might be working on. I've had these mics for a couple weeks, and I've been breaking them in, I've been testing them, I've had a lot of fun playing with them, but you might have noticed I haven't really been using them in my own videos. For all the praise, why might that be the case? Because I really wish I could have this smaller form factor for my video. Something, again, a little smaller, a little more discreet, but the Saramonic Air, for all the cool stuff they have, do not include on transmitter recording backups. In the past, if you catch some of my other reviews and commentary on wireless microphone systems, this is the line in the sand that I've been drawing between something that's helpful and nice, high quality prosumer to something that I would rely on for a little more professional grade recording situations. If anything happens to this camera source, or there's something that's interfering with the wireless signal here, this audio is baked directly into the video file, and I have no other way to save it. On transmitter recording, I've got a locally saved audio file directly attached to my person, and I can choose. I can either use the audio that's baked into the video file, or maybe this might sound a little bit better and I can pull that out and replace that in my video editing software. For this video, I think something clicked in my brain. And this system is pretty well stocked, and I'm trying not to make this just the more professional or less professional kind of commentary, where I've drawn that line in the sand before on transmitter recording. Here, I think it's important to maybe clarify that and say the context matters. Who you're trying to record, what you're trying to record, how you're producing the content is really going to make the difference on deciding if you want to buy a system like this. I am a totally solo practitioner. I record only myself. So it's a nice peace of mind having that recording capability on the transmitter, because I can't always monitor myself very easily, especially for something like this. Like, I might want to put this camera down, but if you're spending more of your time on the other side of the camera and you're recording other people, then on transmitter recording might not be as critical a feature for your workflow, because you should be able to plug in some earbuds and hear in real time if there's some kind of issue, or if there's some kind of signal interruption or transmission error. For me, recording myself, I can't do that very easily, so I might be stuck in a situation where I do all this talking and then go back and look at the clip and go, oh, well, something borked there. I have to go re-record the whole thing. If you're recording someone else, that might not be as big a concern for you. But this is a pretty good system. So it's less a case of more professional or less professional. And I think now, and I really want to keep this in mind for future reviews and videos too, it's really, what is the context? What is your job in this recording environment? Are you trying to do everything like me? Or are you the person behind the camera recording other people who might be hosting a video? And the big benefit of going wireless is that I'm not stuck in one location. The microphone's right here, so I have to talk right into the microphone and my head is in a vise. I like being able to, I talk with my hands. I like being able to move around. I've switched over almost exclusively to wireless microphones, even though they don't sound quite as rich with that proximity effect. But because I like being able to move and be a little more fluid and a little more mobile, I can't do that if I have to have headphones on to monitor, just to make sure I'm not dropping signal or signal is getting distorted. And this next point I think is an important concern, but it's not the fault of Saramonic or Boya or Rode or DJI, but sometimes we plug these systems into our cameras, right? But our cameras don't always have the best audio processing hardware. My Lumix, the signal conversion on that is actually pretty mediocre. I found this out the hard way when I was reviewing another microphone system that did not have on transmitter recording. And outdoors, my clips all sound great because I'm plugged into a phone. Plugged into my camera, that signal sounded really dull and lifeless, and there wasn't any way for me to edit it or make it pop or bring out the characteristics of my voice that I think make me sound unique. You really want that to shine. A good microphone, a good system, a good transmitter, and good conversion hardware on your camera all work together to make that audio unique and distinct. But I know I can't trust my Lumix to accomplish that last stage, so that's another reason why I prefer the on-transmitter recording, where I can pull that audio directly off of the flash storage, edit that out, make it sharp, make it crispy. I know I'm going to sound good, even though often my video is kind of mediocre. What I like to shoot is very static and kind of dull. All right, and my ridiculously silly noise canceling test. Now, I'm not gonna do anything too cheeky with this setup. I'm gonna tell you which transmitter or lavalier audio track we're using for this. But I'm standing next to a busy freeway, and I'm really trying not to yell. I'm trying not to sort of overly project over the noise. I'm just trying to keep a comfortable talking volume. This is coming from the transmitter, and now we're gonna switch to the noise canceling, and you're gonna hear from the transmitter how effective the noise canceling might be in clearing out this noise around me. All right, we're still on the transmitter audio track. This is coming directly from the microphone built into the transmitter. And I've clicked on the noise canceling. We should be able to get a sense. What we're listening for is that my voice can kind of rise above this noise, but we don't want anything so heavy-handed that it starts to warp, or you get that underwater watery sound to our audio. We just want to try and minimize the distraction. And a little sample from the lavalier side. This is the lavalier microphone. I'm not trying to yell. I'm just trying to talk at a more comfortable volume. I can barely hear my own voice mixed in with all of the traffic around me. And now same thing, we're gonna switch, and this is gonna be the noise canceling, but with the lavalier audio going through that the transmitter, seeing if it can clean out some of this noise around us. And the second recording here, this is on the lavalier mic, but we have the noise canceling turned on, and same thing. We just want to hear that my voice can come up above all of this noise around us, and that it's not distracting when we hear that. I know sometimes we want that really clean audio, but I don't like that digital artifacting I'd actually really have more of the environment noise in most of my recordings than hearing my voice get warbly or underwatery or distorted because the noise is so loud. This is kind of an extreme example, but we have a pretty good sense of what these mics are going to do now, and I think we can wrap up this review. I really like these mics, and I love this form factor. I really wish I could get a smaller style form factor with that storage built in. But I'm still very positive on this system if we're in the right context. If your job behind the camera allows you to monitor the audio, I think you've got a very high quality solution here to work with. It's not the solution for me, but this is a really fun system to compare with some of the other big players in the space like Rode and DJI. But against Rode, this is a more complete total package that you're going to have. Everything in the box here is going to get you up and running. There's very little that I'm seeing that might be lacking from this system in one purchase price. We lack that on transmitter recording, but this is also going to significantly undercut the price of something like the Rode Wireless Go Gen 3. So if you don't need that on transmitter recording, you can save some cash and end up with a more discreet system depending on what you need to record. Good features, good tech, great price, small size, and it's so teeny, it's adorable. I really want something small. So I will, of course, drop some links down below where you can find more information on the Saramonic Air. The rest of Saramonic's products, maybe shop some of these bad boys online. Saramonic has really risen to this occasion. We've got to keep putting pressure on companies like Rode and DJI to make sure we've got good competition in the space. We've got good price to performance, good features coming to market. We don't want one company to get too lopsided and then everything gets crazy expensive, and Saramonic has really been putting the pressure on. I don't know, and I kind of miss some of those classic days where I'd be out on set and recording, and just the movie and TV work was a lot of fun back in the day. So I love digging into this stuff. It was really my first joy, my first passion. It's kind of what I built my channel on, was high quality audio and voiceover and home recording and on-set location, field mixing, stuff like that. So the folks who get to see the results of my testing and reviewing and comparisons first are, of course, my incredible patrons, all of the people over on patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. Production diaries, behind the scenes, all of my videos in 4K, the private Discord. Some folks get early access if you want to step up a tier. They're basically the coolest tech pals in the universe. This list of names scrolling by on your screen right now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart, as they're helping to keep the lights on here in the Gadget Lab, and they're also helping to subsidize the costs of me walking outdoors so I can do noise canceling tests by an active freeway. I really can't thank them enough for helping to keep this machine working. So I hope you'll consider joining the community over at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. Now, you know where you can find me across the rest of the internet at SomeGadgetGuy, basically everywhere, but these days I'm spending a bit more time on the Mastodons and a lot less so on the Facebooks, Threads, Instagrams, and none at all on that dumpster fire site. And I will catch you all on the next review.